Everyone, I'd like to introduce you to our clan chief, Malcolm Lord Forbes. I'd asked him to stop in. And um, uh, Malcolm, if you could start off, I know it's late for you as well. We have one of our members from Barcelona with us too, and it's 10 p.m. there, so it's a little bit late. Um,
Oh,
but
brilliant.
I greatly appreciate you being here, Malcolm. And I just wanted to welcome you again. I'm having you join us here. And if you could say a few words about what's going on at Castle Forbes. I know you've had some bad weather. I also offer my condolences for Ginny's brother. I know you were away with funeral arrangements and things like that. Hope things are getting better for you.
Yes, yes, I think so. The daffodils are coming out, and the bad weather seems to have departed for the moment, anyway. But we did have a very, very wet and windy and snowy at times. 6 weeks. I think we didn't see the sun for about 6 weeks,
Wow.
and it even hit the national news
Yeah.
in this country that Aberdeen had been deprived of any sunlight for over a month.
Oh my goodness. Well, I heard
Anyway,
you mentioned you had some roof problems. Some of the rooms leaked.
yes, because the wind was coming from the wrong direction and it was blowing the rain in through places that hadn't ever come in before.
Oh
Anyway,
dear.
we've survived.
Yeah. Well, since the chief is here, does anyone have any questions for Malcolm? You can just raise your hand visually or electronically. We're very grateful to have him here with us today.
And Bart, I must
Yes.
just thank you.
Yeah.
Your package arrived yesterday.
Oh, good.
Very, very
Good.
kind. Thank you very much indeed.
No,
I'm
you're
glad
doing
to
us a
say
favor.
that the British customs didn't seem to want their pound of flesh this time, so it
Good.
arrived with nothing to pay.
Oh, that's good. Because I
But
try to pay it all upfront.
slightly horrified by the amount of postage that you had to pay.
It was cost more than the pamphlets I sent you, but it's all worth it. Okay, we have Fiorentino. Do you have a question for us?
Okay,
There
you
you go.
uh, as a
Ah,
member
hello.
of the society, you have unfortunately we are not the surname Forbes of the name of accept, but for to be useful to the members of the society, I searched in my land, the Sicily, the names of Forbes of all the steps and variations. There are many in the three war cemetery of the Commonwealth in Catania, Syracuse, and Agira. Yeah, that it's pretty Canadian for most part. And I found one Forbes, many Watson, one Middleton. I made a list of this in PDF Acrobat, and I blend with the certificate for every fallen of name Forbes and Seps in Sicily. So if you want, I can email you. I can share in another way. It can be useful for the members. Many members join the society for genealogic reasons, researches, and in Sicily we have 27 Forbes and Septs.
Really?
So
Yeah.
I hope it can be useful for the members.
Yes.
Well, Antonio, interesting. I actually printed off part of your letter to me, and I was going to read it later to the folks. That was a really wonderful letter, and I think you mentioned that you wanted to write a handwritten note to to Lord Forbes as well.
Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else has a question? Oh, someone else's hand is up. Who is that? Dallin, welcome, Dallin.
Hey Bart, hey Malcolm. Sorry, I'm on my computer. My camera just doesn't work here. But Malcolm, I just saw recently in the news that the House of Lords is getting disbanded, and so I was just curious what your thoughts are about that.
Oh, about the um, chucking out all the hereditaries.
Right.
Well, they started that. Tony Blair started that way back in the 90s. and got rid of most of the hereditaries, but there were, I think, 80 or 90 that were allowed to stay out of the 800, I think, altogether. And when the first lot went, my father then was, oh, getting on into his 80s, and he decided that he wouldn't stand to be one of the remaining 90 peers. So he got out then, basically, and the rest have now gone. So
Mm.
we're, well, I suppose, more democratic, I suppose.
Well, as some of you may know, Lord Forbes is the premier Lord of Scotland, which means he has the oldest title of Lord in Scotland.
I think my title also is the First Lord of Parliament.
Yes. So you
But
would
I'm
lead them all in if you were ever going to lead them back.
but I don't get into Parliament anymore, which is rather ironic.
Yeah, the estate keeps you busy. I see Trevor has his hand up. Trevor, make sure your audio is on.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Malcolm, very good to see you again.
very good to see you,
Just a
Carl.
couple of questions following on from that last question. Do you actually have anything, do you have any role at all in the Scottish Parliament, for example? Is that something that
No,
you
no,
not a,
I think that's what I'm First Lord of the Scottish Parliament.
oh, right. Okay.
The Scottish Parliament doesn't have any lords,
No.
so it's completely
So my
fine.
other question was really to inquire how the business of the scents and the products that you actually have at Castle Forbes is progressing.
Yeah,
I
it's
know this has
ticking
been
over.
a rather trying time in the US with tariffs and everything else, but how is that progressing?
Yes. Oh, it ticks along, and we've just launched a new one for what's it? Sandalwood, a
All right.
sandalwood fragrance, a
Well,
special
that's
edition type thing.
and Andrew is still sort of involved with that in
No,
terms
very
of
much. Yes, I mean
okay.
he's the power behind the whole thing.
I will be in touch with him, but thank you very much for that.
Yeah,
I'll keep you in
good.
touch too.
As
Thank
a
you.
Very good
side
to see
note,
you.
all members get a discount of all the scents, and it's in the members section of the website. Little plug there. And we also have an article about Andrew French, who is the perfumier that worked with the Lady Forbes on developing the line of scents.
Mm.
Anyone else has a question for Lord Forbes? I see some of your familiar faces here, Malcolm. You see Ashley and Colin and Norman are here. And Natalie has her DAR picture up. Who
Right,
else do
I
you?
can only see about 4 or 5 along the top of my thing.
Hmm. We have about 25 altogether, and I think
Oh,
you've known
really?
some.
Oh, God.
Yes.
No, that's
Um,
very good.
does anyone else has a question for Lord Forbes before we launch? I see Dick Forbes just jumped in. Alan B. Levy jumped in. Let's see. I see John and Simon. I feel like Romper Room. I don't know if any of you are old enough.
Mhm.
I see Jim and Judy. I mentioned Norman, Sarah, Paul, uh, Dallin, Jane, Trevor. Who else? Oh, Robin Margaret from Canada. Uh, Anyone else has a question for Lord Forbes before we jump in? We're looking forward to seeing you once again, Malcolm, this summer for our next
Indeed.
tour.
Yeah.
Of course, the 2024 tour was quite special for some of us. Look at Ashley smiling. Ashley and Colin. Ashley and Colin, do you want to explain why the 2024 tour to Castle Forbes is very special?
Oh, put on the
Oh, there they
spot.
are. Hello.
Lord Forbes, is fantastic to see you again. It was
Very nice to see you
especially
too.
special for us, not only for being a wonderful tour and very educational, but also because Ashley and I were engaged at Castle Forbes under Lord and Lady Forbes's close observance, and so it'll always be a treasured memory for the two of us.
Absolutely. It was the most amazing time of our lives, honestly. So,
Truly.
yes.
And thank
And
you
you're
once
both
again, Lord
well?
Forbes.
Hmm? You're both keeping well?
Yes. Yep.
Good,
We've
good.
now approached what, a year and a month
Year and a
of
month.
marriage.
And we're
That's
still
how,
together.
yes. It's how like time passes so fast. It's crazy. So, mhm.
Well, I credit you, Lord Forbes, with us roping in Ashley and Colin. Ashley is now our membership director,
I
and
saw that, yes.
Colin has been generating some great ideas for developing fundraising activities. And so we've really gotten them on board. And of course, Norman, Ashley's brother, is our treasurer. So we've been really able to tap some of the knowledge and experience from Ashley and Colin.
Brilliant.
Yes, Jane, you have your hand up.
Hi there from Australia. I'm
Australia,
just wondering,
yay!
Got it.
I don't know if there's anyone else from
What
Australia, but
time?
Good
I'm
morning.
very keen. Yeah, it is at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm wondering when the next tour is being planned. There's one being planned this year. Will there be another one after that? Or I'm very
That is
keen
the
to come. It's a
plan. If
big trip from Australia.
yes, we do have a couple coming from Australia this summer.
Okay.
But if we don't outstay our welcome with Lord and Lady Forbes, we're hoping to get another tour in 2026. We're looking at like every other year. And what's
Oh,
special
that's
this
amazing.
year is that we're working with a tour group called Clans and Castles, and they do this on a regular basis. I'm hoping to offload it to them because this year, because Jamie Lord Semple is not involved and our previous tour operator was not involved, I jumped in. I've been full on board, doing a lot of the details, and it's a whole lot of work coordinating people. Um, Especially Alex Forbes, who rarely responds to email, as you well know, Malcolm. Um,
Who's
but
that?
uh, but we've gotten some great connections. We'll talk about it a little bit later on. But want to make sure that Diana Gray from Clans and Castles meets all of the Forbes people, and so that even if you can't make the official tour, perhaps you can bring a family of 5 or 10 and do your own tour, and they have all the contacts. So that's the plan at this point. And I see Jim and Judy with a hand raised. Yes.
Hi, don't have a question. I just wanted to say hello to Lord Forbes and thank him for his hospitality. My wife and I were able to visit the estate last August, and he was a most gracious and informative host. And we had a wonderful time.
Well, it's lovely to see you again, and thank you very much indeed.
I get questioned all the time, Malcolm, about, gee, I want to tour Castle Forbes. Where can I get tickets? And and I explain very gently, well, it's a private home, but here's the information where you can contact the estate office. And so I think that works out pretty well. And I do have to say that you've been very successful in getting people on board as members. So we really appreciate that. That's why I was very happy to, spend more than enough money to get more booklets to you.
Good.
Anyone else before we jump? Okay, Steve, I see their lower chin. There you go.
It's
Oh,
can you
hello.
hear us? Steve and
Yes.
Elizabeth. Hi everybody. We're jumping in late here.
We're just chatting because we have our chief on board, and so we want to give people an opportunity to speak with him. Antonia, if you don't mind, I would like to read part of your email to me. I think it's really important because it demonstrates the importance of the work that we do. May I do that, sir? Dear President, as a new active member, I feel it is my duty to extend my greetings and explain the reasons for my decision to become a member of the Clan Forbes Society. In truth, I have no roots in my beloved Scotland nor any connection whatsoever to Clan Forbes. As a child, I have always been passionate about Celtic culture and music, and in particularly about Scotland and its clans. I feel Scottish and Forbes at heart, even though I don't have the honor of belonging to the clan and don't speak English very well. But I share the Forbes values. This is to tell you that I became a member because I share the values and history of this glorious clan. The motto says it all. Grace me guide.
Oh, that's very nice.
Guys, this is why we do what we do. Antonio, thank you for these words. It's an inspiration to us. People have lives. I understand that, but we give a little part of that for all of us. And as Malcolm has said, anyone who feels any way connected to the clan is a member. So, Antonio, welcome to the clan.
Thank you to you, and I'm honored that the First Lord of Scotland is online with me. But I think after the clearances, after the diaspora, many Scottish are out of Scotland. The most are outside than inside, unfortunately. But this gave strength to the Scottish culture, like Nova Scotia, like Cape Breton, the Baramekis, etc. Uh, I think who share the values of the clan Forbes, who love Scotland, it's Scottish, and it's a Forbes. In this time of war, of rudeness, the values of Forbes, the equity, the justice, the peace, the stability, for great part of history of the clan, they uses the pen over the sword for many years, like Duncan and others. They are guardian of the landscape, the territory of the Forbes, have Castle harmonious with the landscape. It's a clan that not scream, that work laboriously in silence, but they are underrated because the people when think of Scotland think of the Highlander with the claymore in the mountains with the snow, but there's a noble Scotland. There's Forbes, there's Seton, there's Brodie, the bibliothecarian of Scotland, the greatest bibliothèque in Scotland, clans, noble clans that they never were aggressive, opportunistic, and so on.
Well,
So
read the book.
with
Yeah.
with the Gordons and so on, so many but I see Forbes like a clan for stability, for diplomacy when it's possible. In this time, I think is an actual value. So it's important to share this culture of education, of diplomacy in the world.
Thank you.
Grace me
Yeah,
guide.
yeah. They're
Grace
very,
me.
very nicely said.
And I want to remind you all that we are a Gaelic clan. The original Gaelic clans were not just kindred. There were no surnames. There were people who came together with common values, common heritage, usually in a plot of land. But it's not just the surname or the genealogy. It was the values of a Gaelic clan before
Yeah.
there were surnames. And I'm so proud of this group that has recognized that, come together under those values of Grace Me Guide, under our leadership of our clan chief, Malcolm Lord Forbes. I'm going to cry. I'm sorry.
Well, even like, so Bart, what Colin reminded me of is that whenever Fighting for Charlie escaped, he was in Italy, right? He was housed in
Yeah.
Italy. So I think
Well,
that
well,
also,
well, uh, Charles Edward Stuart was
Yeah.
an Italian.
Bonnie Prince Charlie.
He was an Italian. He was born in the buildings owned by the Pope.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even Scottish. He was an Italian
true.
of
Yeah.
Polish and Scottish parents.
Mhm.
Read the book. So the 1745 rebellion wasn't an uprising. It was a foreign invasion funded by France and Spain
Yeah.
with Irish mercenaries, which turned into a civil war. read the book.
But we have two Forbes in contrast. Peter Sligo with the Culloden.
Well, and the last major chapter deals with Duncan Forbes of Culloden and Sir Alexander Forbes of Pitsligo, two very highly principled people on different sides. And they were part of that for same reason, but different outcome. Read the book.
Yeah.
But Jonathan, have either of you, or anybody actually for that matter, been to see the tombstone of Alistair Cam Forbes at St Bride's Kirk in Rinny? Yeah, well, I've been trying to. It's now actually a site that appears to be under some sort of threat. And I've been in touch with the Graveyard Commission of North Aberdeenshire and others, but have actually managed to get into a whole bureaucratic mess. But I've been doing that alongside Alex Forbes as well. So when we get some more information, I'll let you know. But I've got a very good photograph of it. It's quite impressive, and it shows Alistair Cam Forbes and somebody by his side. It's inscribed as Marriott.
Check in with me later and we'll figure out what we can do about that. Alan has your hand raised. Hello, Alan.
Hi, from Shreveport, Louisiana,
I've been there.
and New Orleans halftime. They both have Scottish societies. I'm a member of the Scottish Society in Shreveport of the North Highlands, we call it the North Highlands Scottish Club, because we're up in the northwest Highlands of Louisiana. The next state over is the Arkansas and the Ozark Mountains and all of that. But New Orleans, of course, is 6 feet below sea level on the average. So I go from the highs to the lows. But anyway, I'm just wondering if I'm the only person. I was adopted into the Levy family at birth, but my ancestor goes back to the Battle of Dunbar. And one of the few survivors came to Boston and started our line. And I'm just wondering if I'm the only person in society with a Jewish surname.
I could probably find out for you, but I doubt it. I
just
do know
curious.
that Leslie Furbish is also descended from one of the prisoners of the Battle of Dunbar. So we
Okay.
have a lot of people of Farbish, because they couldn't understand their thick Scottish accent. Brr. But that's where the whole Furbish clan or family derived.
Interesting. Huh.
But that's why I say we're a clan of people with like values, and that's really important for us to remember.
Right.
Wave or put your hand up. Yes, I see Dallin.
Just a question on the values. I found, of course, I found the clan from the genetic bloodline, and because I'm a Forbes surname. Just wondering if we have those values posted anywhere. That was just news to me.
It's more of it's the basic core value is grace me guide. And I think that Malcolm says it best. If you go to the SEPs page, when I asked him about who are our official SEPs, he says, my own personal view is that anyone, whatever their current name, who regards themselves as in any way associated with the clan should be welcomed with open arms. As you can imagine, we receive a lot of visits from people claiming to have connections, including, of course, some of the official list of SEPs. And I always try to encourage them to wear the tartan. In this troubled world, I think there is every reason for encouragement to be given to anyone who would like to be associated to our peaceful clan where grace is our guide.
Okay. That's
And he
helpful.
also, and let me, I can go, he actually explains what he means by grace in the introduction to the book, Forbes, A Story of Scotland. This is what Malcolm says. The Clan Forbes motto, Grace Me Guide, embodies a sense of duty which can be seen throughout this volume as members of the clan were involved in the political, religious, and cultural transformation that have taken place over Scotland over the years. This So he sees it as a sense of duty. Grace is not just God, but understanding and acceptance of other people. So it's an enlightened sense of welcoming and a sense of grace, not just God is my guide, but grace is my guide. And that's what our clan chief has determined. Comments, suggestions, questions? This is our turn for a wee blether. Let's go around and ask you to mention who you are, where you're from, and why you joined the society. It's almost quarter to the hour. Let's spend the next 10 minutes or so chatting. I'm going to jump to people who you've not heard from on the board. Tracy, we can't hear from you. Uh, Chris Forbes, why did you
Yes.
join? Why did you join the society? Why are you here today?
Well, I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we are planning a trip to go to Scotland and Ireland, August and September. And we wanted to get more information about the clan and more about Aberdeen. And so it's just a curiosity and an interest and wanting to find some lineage there.
Good. Please see the website, the Forbes Heritage Sites of Aberdeen.
Yes, I certainly will. Thank you.
Jean Gore, I love you dearly. You've been a member for many years. Thank you for sticking with us. Say a few words if you could.
Well, I was just trying to figure out how many years I have been a member. I was a member of the group that folded, and then for, what did you say, about 10 years we weren't, and now we are again. I live in Abilene, Texas. I'm originally from New York State, however. My Forbes family are the Forbes family of silversmiths that were active in New York City as silversmiths. There were about 6 or 8 of them, and I do have a blurb on the Clan Forbes website about just the silversmiths in my family. I was working on my DAR membership. My patriot is William G. Forbes, who was a silversmith who lived in New York City. But I was having a lot of trouble finding any information about him. And one day I visited one of my uncles who had a family Bible. And he said, I think I have some information for you. And he got it out and he opened it. And it was a God thing because it opened up to the page with all the information about William G. Forbes that I needed. And so then I became a member of DAR and then also looked up Clan Forbes and became a member of Clan Forbes. But we have William G. For one of the brothers, John Wolfe Forbes, has a piece of silver in the White House, and and I don't remember who did this, but there's a piece of Forbes silver in the State Department somewhere. And then there's a couple of other trays that the White House has, but I'm pretty proud that we have silver in the White House. And I have I have collected spoons from every one of the Forbes silversmiths except for one, and no one knows anything about him. And unfortunately, I can't remember his name. But no information is available. They don't know what happened to him, but he was a silversmith for a very short time. So, but I'm proud to be here and glad to see everybody.
And you should all read her blog about the silversmiths. I think it's a great read. And it's all you do is go to the blogs and just do a search for the silvers or just silver, the silversmith Forbes of New York. And Gene, you want to quickly mention the black sheep of the silversmith Forbeses?
Yes, one of the brothers, who was not a silversmith, was involved in a plot to assassinate George Washington in 1776 when Washington hadn't come over the bridge. And the idea was particular Forbes was a gun maker, and he was selling guns to the English. And he got in with the English. They gave him money to pay people to help with the assassination. And they were going to, now this is the story, I don't know how much of this is actually true, but this is the story that has been told for many years. They were going to assassinate George Washington on the bridge as Washington came across from New Jersey. And the plot was found out. And of course, everybody was arrested. And the people that my ancestor was working with were all hung the day after the trial. And I have found transcripts of the trial and all, which I have written in my Forbes family history, or included in my family history. But this gentleman, or it probably wasn't a gentleman, but this man, this Forbes, was put in jail in Connecticut. And then when he got out of jail, he went to Canada.
I actually wrote an article about that, Gene. It's his name is
Yes.
Gilbert Forbes.
Yes,
Forbes.
Gilbert. Yes.
And the
Yes,
plot
I
is
have a copy of that.
And I saw the trial. I actually have copies of newspaper articles about the trial too.
Yes.
So if you're interested in that, folks, go to the blog, search for Gilbert or George Washington, and you'll learn more about that. I see Tracy has found her audio and she's raised her hand. So poor Tracy, you may have some opportunity now.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God, finally. Hi, my name is Tracy Jones. I'm from Puerto Rico, but I reside in Florida, in Orlando. So everyone that is nearby, hello. It will be nice to get together. I don't mind. I'm a cook. So, hey, I'll make some flan or something.
As long as you make good frijoles. I tried making tamales once, and my husband said, "Oh no, you need a grandmother to make tamales."
I have a friend that is Mexican, so I'll ask her. I don't know how to make it, but I'll pass the recipe.
Anyone else? Questions, comments?
Hey Tracy, I just want to say I'm in Daytona, and I know we have a couple more members in the Orlando area, so that'd be great if we could put something together sometime, even just a dinner. And also we have the Dunedin games coming up, I think in a few weeks. So if you go to that, I'll see you there.
Definitely, I'll try my best.
Ashley and CJ, I hear an online meetup for folks in Florida.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Hey,
Anyone
Bart,
else?
Bart,
Yes.
I had to jump off for another call, so I'm back on. And just wanted to say, Clan Forbes was also well represented at the 250th commemoration of the Battle of Moores Creek at the end of February. I call it one of the most important battles of the Revolutionary War that no one's ever heard of.
Because why is that? Tell us more.
Well, it was a very small and short battle between a Patriot force and a Loyalist force that was almost entirely made up of Highlanders. And they were marching toward Wilmington, and the Patriots found out that they were coming, and they managed to take them out and make them think that they were camped over there. And so they come up on the bridge, and the Patriots have instead dismantled the bridge and greased the girders.
Wow.
And they're sitting on the other side of the bridge with cannons and muskets. And the Highlanders charged the bridge with broadswords.
Amazing.
Screaming in Gaelic for King George and broadswords.
Okay, that's cool.
And it's considered to be the last battle fought with broadswords.
Wow, amazing.
I don't think there were any Forbes there.
What are you talking about?
But there were Scots on both sides.
Thank you
of
for
course.
sharing.
And as the president of the Scottish Society of Wilmington, it's my job to honor the loyalists, those
Yes.
Scottish Highlanders who had pled an oath to protect the king in exchange for land and protection, and also, had been through the Jacobite Rebellion and knew what England would do to people who fought for independence. So they were pressured to be loyalists. And so my job is to honor the loyalist monument. I always do that and then look up and say, I'm sorry, guys, it's my job, because I have 17 patriot ancestors.
We understand. Teresa and Jan, you have your hand up. So good to see you guys here.
Hi,
Or at
Bart.
least hear you. I don't see you.
Yeah, we're having trouble with our camera. But yeah, we were on the trip in 2022 and had a wonderful time. And I recognized some faces here, which is really nice. But our Forbes, that's my husband's name. So he was never sure about his genealogy. And so I started studying it. And um, they said that the Forbes came to Boston and different places, and it just never did seem to fit our family heritage. And we were from the very southern part of Illinois. So, like, uh, more very southern. But what I found was there was a James Forbes that came to Virginia the very around 1680, and he bought land in Virginia, and then he married, and then they moved down to North Carolina. And this was around Elizabeth City and north of the Outer Banks. And they settled there and had a land grant, and they lived there for, many years. And that area became known as Forbes. And it was called that until around the time of the Civil War. Well, my husband and I went to see if we could find that. And so we went in 2024, and it's very rural, but with GPS, we were able to find it, and it's called Riddle now. But the Forbes that were still there in 2001, to commemorate 300 years that the Forbes had lived there, a man by the name of Willard Forbes, who was the historical person in the family, he and some of the relatives purchased a very, very large monument, and they have it there by the Forbes Cemetery. And it has the
Wow.
history of James and the Forbes that came. And it's very, very interesting. And it's like it's hidden, and people don't even know that it's there. But we were able to find it. So from there, then I was able to trace our family across North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, and into Illinois. So if anybody was interested in that, I have pictures, and it's very, very interesting.
Teresa, and Jan, Jonathan, I think we have another heritage article coming up. So I want you guys to get together. This does sound fascinating. If you have pictures, if you have history, yes, we want to have family stories.
I'd be glad to
Please,
share it. Yeah.
please hit me up. You know my email address. I'll forward it to Jonathan and he'll follow through with you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
I,
Bart.
s- oh, no, thank you. I see the hand up for Simon Forbes.
Hello. I joined the society a couple of years ago. I signed up for the tour in August, which I'm looking forward to. Which is, I mean, and in the background of me is actually part of Caithness, which is where my Forbes ancestors come from. My grandfather was born in Thurso, and if you go way back, they go back to, I don't know if you've ever heard of these places, Blether and Lothen Wheel, on the south end of Caithness. I've now managed to trace them back to Aberdeenshire. I don't know. There was some rumor, I was told as a child, that they left because of the Battle of Culloden, but I don't know if there's any truth to that. But there were Forbeses there before that. but you get these stories that circulate. But yeah, so as I said, you go. My Forbes ancestry is in Caithness, and which is a fascinating county of England. I'd actually visited it twice in the past few years, which I've never even been that far up Scotland. Most people haven't actually, but it's well worth seeing. If you can cope with the transport, which is often very limited up there. But
let me tell
as
you
you might
something.
get by accident, I'm also part of the diaspora, like most people on this call. I live in London. I was actually born in England. My father was born in Scotland, in Glasgow, but not myself.
Awesome. Actually, I spent a couple of days in Thurso.
Oh,
We
right.
took the train up. We actually then went up to Scrabster
Yeah, that's Scrapster.
because we took my husband Tony and I took a sailing a tall ship tour for whiskey distilleries, and we got the tall ship Thalassa. Yeah, Rob's going, yeah. It was a whiskey tour on a tall ship. We went up from a Scrapster up to Orkney and then down the Western Hebrides. It was freaking amazing. But I stayed a couple days in Thurso and we took the boat up in Scrapster. So
I
just to let you
simply
know.
recommend Old Pulteney, the local whiskey from Wick. It's excellent. Actually, people in Thurso are very rude about people in Wick, but if you just ignore them, the whiskey is excellent. They buy it in
Yes,
Thurso as well. Old Pulteney is really good stuff.
good. I see CJ has her hand up. CJ, you're up.
I do really quick, like I know we're getting on up there in time. I've got to hop off. But what I'm hearing, I just wanted to say this as my first annual meeting. I've been in membership over a year. Just got on the board, as we had said, and already hearing such good things coming out of this meeting that as a board we will have to work on, and why these breakout networking sessions I think are going to be so successful is this is what we were talking about, is keeping the heritage and the stories alive and all of our individual background that we have researched or just learning from somebody else. It really gives a lot for, especially Bart, Jonathan, Ashley, Natalie, and I, a lot to work on and focus on. And I think this is going to be so very exciting to see what we accomplish and to come back next year at this time and see what we've done over the last year. I think it's going to be pretty amazing. So I'm very excited to be a part of this. And I cannot wait to hear a breakout session and get Jean to elaborate on the silversmith and just everybody's got so many really cool things. It's going to be so fun to share this as we move forward with the networking groups. So as you have things that come up before you hear for that first one, be making notes, because you're going to start to see questions and polls come out. What would you like to talk about? What would you like to hear about? Or you might have something that's really interesting to share. And that's going to be things that I'm looking for as we grow this and build these stories. So thank you so much for starting to share all of this with me. And I hate that I have to go, but I do, unfortunately. But this has been absolutely wonderful. And it was so nice to meet everybody that's in the general membership and board members. I'll see you soon. But it's been an amazing experience so far. And I can't wait to see what we can do as a family in the next coming year.
Thank you, CJ. And now I think it's time for us to hear from our Canadian family. Hey, Robin, Margaret, are you up for having a few chat? Hey,
Hey, take off, eh? Yeah, so my grandfather came to Canada in 1906 from England, and his father left Scotland in 1880. And before that, all of our Forbeses are all up in the Aberdeen area. So, so it's not that distant, but it's sufficiently distant, right? That I don't have any Scottish accent whatsoever.
Canadian?
So last time we were in Scotland, Margaret and I, we had an opportunity. We were in Inverness, and we stayed at the Culloden House, which of course is Duncan Forbes' home. And it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever done in my life. I'll say that. Because yeah, exactly, right? How did that work? So we drove in, we parked the car, we make our way into the front desk, and they, what's your name? So I give them, Robert Forbes, and oh, so, whistles bells, and the manager comes over and takes our bags and takes us up to our room. We got a beautiful room with a beautiful view, and then escorts us down to the Forbes bar where he, makes us drinks. And we thought, okay, this is pleasant, right? Then it's going to be time for dinner. So he comes back and he says, "Oh, by the way, we've got a piper to pipe you in for dinner." And I went, "Oh, well, that's bloody lovely. Thank you very much." And so the pipe starts up, and so we go out and we look at the piper outside, and then we go in, and it was like Downton Abbey. They had all the staff all lined up as we walked in to greet us as the manager took us to our seat by the fireplace and have a seat here. And I was like, really? This is just,
Yeah.
it's what you do when you're a Forbes, I guess. Yeah, so it's good fun. So we're really looking forward to seeing Aberdeen in August with you folks. And then we will be going down to Edinburgh following that to take in the festivals and the tattoo and et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah.
Good. Wonderful. Barbara, you've been to Scotland a couple of times.
Hi, Bart. Great to see you and to see everybody. I'm going to have John's here off camera. I'm going to bring him over so you can say hi to him
Ashley and
too.
Colin are waving at you.
Yes.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, we
Norman.
live in Arizona and we're going up to Idaho for the summer. So we won't be joining the trip this time. It's such a great and powerful experience. Everybody going is going to have a great time.
Explain about the tours you did.
Oh, well, seeing the Castle Forbes, I think is really at the core of it. It kind of radiates from there. Spent time in Edinburgh, saw some of the sites that you described in your piece. And loved the walk. The last trip we went on, we took John's mom, Eleanor, who
Love her. Love her.
Loved
Yeah, she's my
the whole
favorite.
experience. Yes, and Norman.
Hi, Norm.
Hi.
Hey.
She loved spending time with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the walking through the gardens in Aberdeen was, she's a flower person. I love flowers, and it just was so powerful to see that. There were so many experiences. And this time, what I'm excited about is that I know when I came back and John and I came back, that we were talking with my family in Idaho about the trip. And so my sister, Elizabeth, who's on here today, she's going to be joining in too. So she's going, and I can't wait to hear what she experiences.
We're looking forward to having her. I mean, you've had your experiences. Now pass it on.
Yeah. Yeah. And spread the word.
Let me go on to Sarah. Hello, Sarah. Why are you with us today?
I'm with you today. I'm one of your new 2026 members. My grandmother's maiden name was Forbes, and I've gotten interested in genealogy in the last 6 years. And we had a brick wall that I was able to break through. And as a result, first of all, I am from live in Houston, Texas. I'm trying to hit
Power center.
all the common things. I go to the DAR a lot. At the DAR, I had seen this book before, but I didn't know how it related to it. It's with all the, I was still hunting, but I am certain at this point that I am part of this line of Forbes from East
I'm glad you got
Hartford,
the books in
Connecticut.
good shape.
Thank you for the book. The reason I'm here is because I met Bart in the purchase of when I found this out, I was very disappointed to learn that the author had just passed away pretty recently.
Yes.
I'm a pretty good researcher. I called her husband, and no answer, but somehow I tracked down, somehow I knew you guys had the book. And I was bound and determined to get a copy of this book, one for me, one for my mother that got me into genealogy, and is so disappointed that we are not part of the Silversmith Forbes. I can't tell you, she has a whole board of how I'm like, it's DNA, DNA doesn't lie. We are not those people. But anyway, so I'm a genealogist. I like to use DNA, like to use facts. And that's how I'm here, is to purchase this book. I could make a donation or become a member. And I just decided, why the heck not? And then I got the email about the meeting and said, hey, I'm going to see what's up with them. So
just to clarify,
genealogy is a hobby.
The book she's
That's it.
looking at is The Descendants of James Forbes of Hartford, Connecticut by Karen L. Forbes. And Karen was a member of the first Forbes Society, and I was contacted by her husband saying that she's in hospice care, but she wanted to donate the rest of her books so that we can make money off of the books for the society. She also sent me a photo album of the early society events that happened in the DC area where it was originally created. And so I have the photo album from Karen, and I have a bunch of these books. She wanted us to use them to raise money. So I told Sarah, we can't sell them, sales tax. Norman knows my my concern. I said, well, you make a donation, we'll send you a couple. And so Sarah did that. And I said, absolutely. This is what Karen's wish was. And so I had a box of these, and we still have a bunch of them. We're still working out how to get them out to more people. But we're very grateful for Sarah's donation and fulfilling Karen's, one of her last requests was to support the society by this book. And it's really quite a nice, substantial book. It's really helpful.
So well researched. I think
Yes.
she was like a lawyer or I don't know. It is one of the better genealogy
She's a
books I've ever come
genealogist.
across.
That'll
So
tell
as
you.
a genealogist, I really appreciate, I know what how about this? I don't know what it must have taken for her to do this book, but I so appreciate her and this, and there's more to learn, but this book doesn't know it doesn't know how I'm related. I can put that in. I know how I come down. And she says, this guy, we think he went to New York. And yes, he did. And then I know what happened. He went to Ohio, because I can come up this way and put the bridge together.
Yes. And that's where the society needs to help out. We have the Scottish ancestors. We have a lot of people who know they're American or they're Australian or Canadian. It's the connection that's always been the challenge for us as a society, to make those connections. So hopefully it's been helpful to you. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Jim, there you are. Say a few words. Jim and Judy?
Jim and Judy. Judy's off camera here, but she's going to lean in so I can prove that she really is here.
Hello, Judy.
So I apologize for looking orange. I don't have jaundice, but that just seems to be how my camera is seeing the light today. I'm a new member to this society just in the past year, but I have known about the Forbes my whole life. There are Forbeses on my mother's side, and she was very proud of her Scots heritage. So I heard stories about it all the time when I was growing up. And when I was much younger, used to attend what was called the Round Hill Highland Games. They were in Greenwich, Connecticut, then they moved to Stamford, then they moved to Norwalk, and I believe they're now defunct. But we also used to go to Highland Games upstate, outside of Hartford. There were games there, and always enjoyed that. So we kept thinking, one of these days I got to go back to the old sod and get a look around and see what I can find out about the family history. And as it turns out, in 2018, Judy and I were driving through the Highlands in something completely unrelated to the Forbeses. We were on a tour with Mini Coopers and drove the North Coast 500, which is a 500-mile trip around the Highlands of Scotland. And of course, loved every second of it, but didn't get to see enough of the scenery, and we weren't anywhere near Aberdeenshire. So we said, look, we're going to have to get back here. And then there was this little pause during the early 2020s, which kept us from traveling. And it was still in the back of our minds that we had to get another trip to Scotland. So last year, in August, we spent 10 days driving around Scotland in a car. And first on the list was to go and visit the Forbes estate. And so I had written to the estate office and got a very lovely reply from Malcolm and saying that he would meet us at the estate offices, which we found without too much difficulty, and then got a nice tour of the property. And then he took us up to the castle, and we got a nice escorted tour around the inside of the house, which was fabulous. So I took lots of pictures of portraits in the house, and also there was a hand-drawn family tree there. And so I'm going to try and match that up with what I've been researching here. So we had a fabulous time. Really happy to have found this organization, and I'm hoping to use some of the genealogical resources to try and flesh out a little of my family history. But having read about Malcolm and Lady Forbes, I read about the perfumery that had started in the old dairy, which sparked an idea. One of my hobbies is blowing glass. And so I decided that I would try to see if I could make some perfume bottles in the Clan Tartan colors. I don't
Oh
know if
my
you can see.
gosh.
So
Those are
my camera's
amazing.
backwards.
I want an article. I want an
one of
article
these-
and pictures.
Yeah, so one of these is done in solid
Jonathan.
colors and one is done in transparent colors. And I probably bought, it's like buying paint when you buy colored glass. So I probably bought 4 blues and 8 greens before I found a combination that matched up well to the tartan colors. And they are actually perfume bottles. No, who uses a perfume bottle anymore? But I actually made about a dozen of these, and I took the best 2 with me, and we gave them as a gift to Lady Forbes while we were there. Unfortunately, we didn't get to meet her. She was having her Pilates class at the castle, so that's for a future trip. But we had a fabulous time, and looking forward to returning not too far in the future.
I definitely want pictures of your bottles and your story. And you were once again a reminder of how fortunate we are to have a clan chief like Malcolm and Ginny. Ginny is amazing, let me tell you. But thank you for joining us. And I want to see pictures and articles.
I actually have some pictures of these bottles in progress, and so I will see.
Even better. I love it.
Right along. So,
okay, I move along. Chris, you're a relatively new member. Chris Lanning.
Yes, and as I mentioned earlier, I joined because of the Highland Games here in Florida, but I had lived in Scotland when I was growing up. My dad was in the Navy, and he was stationed in the Holy Loch in Scotland when the Navy first went over there. He was the skipper of the USS Proteus, which is a submarine tender, was a submarine tender for nuclear submarines. And because we were the first families over there, and the Scottish government wanted to make it clear that the Americans were welcome, my dad was asked to do a lot of things all over Scotland, like hand out prizes at the games or at the dog trials, that kind of thing. And I was in high school, and my sister was a little young, 4 years younger than I, and we sort of tagged along when we could. We actually lived in Greenock in Scotland, which is on the Clyde, right across from the Holy Loch and Dunoon. And we attended school there for just 1 year, and then we moved again the way the Navy does. But it was a fascinating year, really a fascinating year. And while we were there, of course, the journalists were very eager to find out what our connection to Scotland was. And they determined that we were, our family is Michie, M-I-C-H-I-E, which is a sept of the Forbes. And so that's how we're connected. So
one of my good friends is Joan Michie. She couldn't make it today. So there are other Michies around in the clan. So
lovely.
I'll get you connected if you want to.
Wonderful. Okay, that's great.
We're losing people quickly. I want to get to both Rachel and John. Rachel, if you could take your microphone off mute, and then because we're down to about 13 people. Rachel, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you. This is my first meeting. I'm a new member. I live in Southwest Indiana, And my journey began. I work on Zoom almost exclusively with my clients. And during the pandemic, that started because of the pandemic. And as I had my camera set up, and you can kind of see it behind me, there's a display area in my office, and it's a picture of my grandfather and grandmother Forbes, which I knew almost nothing about them because my father was 50 years older than me. And so by the time I was old enough to be interested in my Forbes heritage, which I used the name Forbes until 2 years ago, um, my father was long gone and I didn't know anything about him. And my grandfather Forbes died in 1937. But as that was facing me, I knew that my oldest uncle, Ishmael Forbes, died in the pandemic of 1918. So that connection during our COVID-19 and the pandemic of 1917 and 18 really caused me to get involved with some genealogy and learn more about what I have come to understand is the epigenetics of what happens during a pandemic. And so one of my family is out of Tennessee. I'm the only one in Indiana, except for my brother. And one of my family members gave me this book. And although it doesn't have a lot of information about my line, it did give me a lot of information back. And so I started gathering information and found the Forbes Clan Society. I'm almost 70, and I had originally thought, well, maybe I'll go visit Scotland in a couple years. But I'm of the age I don't put things off anymore. And Bart said, if you're going, you better go this year. And so I'm going to Scotland this year for the first time. My side of the Forbes family are the theologian sides. And so I'm very interested to see how the family kind of split off with the theology. And our family, we're the loyalists. And our family in Tennessee and North Carolina came through some of that. So I'm very excited to be part of the Forbes clan, and I have maintained my Forbes identity and looking forward to meeting other Forbeses.
All I can say is read the book. I'm so delighted to have you as part of the tour this time. And John, I know you've been sitting there listening to everybody. I want to give you an opportunity to say hey and tell us why you're part of the group today.
Well, I think I'm probably the only one left that's from Scotland here tonight. So why I joined? I think, well, I'm a very, very patriotic Scot. That's one of the things, and it is very interesting to read and gladly read that there was Forges on both sides of the battles in Scotland. Scotland today, I think there is a lot of kind of similarities to Scotland's of yesterday, how the Scots are treated. And when you look at how America looks upon things, sometimes I think that in America, they're more patriotic than they are Scots in Scotland when you see the effort that he's doing. So it's nice to see. It's nice to be part of a nice family. And I live now. It was interesting to hear the lady that was staying in Greenock for a year. I live in Uddingston, and if you've ever came across such a delicacy as a Tunnock's tea cake, that's where they're made, Uddingston, Scotland. So I live there, so it's easier to explain Tunnock's tea cakes than it is probably Uddingston. I was born in Dunfermline. Now that, when you're across on your visit, is the burial of Robert the Bruce in Dunfermline Abbey. But in Pittencrieff Park in Dunfermline, you'll find a small building. It is now a museum. And on that museum's front door, there's a plaque. And the plaque is John Forbes. And at that time, I think he actually owned, and it was Andrew Carnegie that actually bought the park. Well, it's a park now, but it was technically a house. That was its private grounds, and Andrew Carnegie bought it for the people of Dunfermline. So you'll really enjoy the trip. I'm Scottish. I love Scotland, and there's not a thing about Scotland that isn't pleasant to the eye or to the ear. I know that I'm probably talking a lot slower today, right now, than what I've ever done for a long time. But depending on where about in Scotland you go, I suppose it's the same in America. You could drive 30 miles and the accent's completely different. That's no different here in Scotland. When you go to the north, the gentleman that was interested to talk about with Thurso, I went up there on the one and only time that I've ever done a sea fishing trip because my face went probably matched the same colours as a rainbow. It was a most horrific experience. But how the accents in Scrabster, for example, is completely different to the accents in the central belt of Scotland. You've got the central belt of Scotland on the east coast, you've got Fife. Even in Fife, from west to east, the accent's completely different. On the west coast of Scotland, again, it's completely different. And then when you kind of go south into the borders, again, I think it turns a little bit more Gentile. So, depending on whereabout you're going when you come over, I don't think there's a place you'll ever be bored of. I love the country, I really do. And I love hearing everybody's opinions on things as well. I like reading about the Forbeses. I'm not quite sure. But on my father's side, it was a match between a Forbes and a McFarlane. So that was my grand and granddad. On my mother's side, that's where the English and the Welsh come in. So it's when I done one of those DNA kind of things, and there's a link to Northern Europe, then it's to north of England. There's a high percentage of Welsh, but thankfully the greater amount is Scottish. So I'm probably a Heinz 57. I'm a mongrel. I'm kind of bits from everywhere. I think that's pretty much sums me up.
First off, I appreciate the picture of the Firth Bridge over behind you. Is that the Firth Bridge?
That's
The Bridge of
the rail
Firth?
bridge. That
Yeah.
no, that's I think that's one of the wonders of the world. That's just the railway bridge. That's it, the rail
Okay.
bridge.
Well, I've had tonic cakes. They're a little bit sweet for me, but I love the dancing tonic cakes. The Commonwealth, was it the Commonwealth Games? They had dancing tonic cakes. Just so you know, John Forbes was a general. He was born in Pittencrieff, and he actually founded the city of Pittsburgh, and he forged the Forbes Trail, and all of that is on our website. And Colin will be hearing about that with a lecture coming up. But we have lots of information about General John Forbes, who was born at Pittencrieff in Dunfermline. So that's great to hear about that. And I see that Alan's hand is up. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to mention, as I said earlier, I was adopted into a Jewish family, but my Scottish here. But when I did ancestry DNA, it came up 14 or 16% Scottish, and so I was curious, why I did that. But before I did before I did that, I had discovered my maternal birth family, and my sister is Catherine Fort, who you all know here.
Oh, yeah.
She is my sister. And
Oh,
I
I didn't
have
know
two
that.
brothers.
Wow.
Yeah, all of them were younger than me. My mother was found to be with child sophomore year at the University of Georgia and ended up in New Orleans with some of their in-laws where she delivered me. So that's why I was born in New Orleans, but she was in Florence, South Carolina. So Catherine, and God bless them, Catherine and my brother Keith have just adopted us, and we've adopted them, and all of us travel back and forth with one another. Son, my 37-year-old son, he's in Chicago right now with his uncle Keith. So my paternal family, who I discovered, has not chosen to pursue a relationship for reasons unknown to me. But on the maternal side, it's just been like a whole new universe opening.
Mm.
So I found out all about this, and um, Catherine who is a real professional level genealogist, but she doesn't do it for a living. She's a trace out from me. She told me that about our
Mm.
who survived the Battle of Dunbar and came to Boston, her servant, and then ended up marrying a Boston Brahmin woman and started our line.
Wow.
So to me, I have so many families, I don't know what to do with them.
That's
I
good.
have
Now
so
we're running to about 2.5 hours, and this is great. This also indicates that we need to have more online networking for people to get more time to share what their experiences are. And I really want to make sure we follow that. One quick note to John, ask Malcolm to speak Doric for you. He grew up speaking the Doric accent before he went to public school. And so he can really speak Doric to you. I see Forbes Mangrum. E. Forbes is, oh, Elizabeth. Yes. Do you have anything to say before? I want to wrap this up in another couple of minutes. Is that Elizabeth Mangrum? I just see E. Forbes Mangrum. And your audio is off.
I don't know if that's me. This is Peter
Oh,
Forbes in
Peter. Okay.
Washington,
Yeah.
D.C. No, I said I fell asleep. I hadn't even been drinking.
Any few words? I want to wrap this up in a couple of minutes, but just explain yourself
we're
and then.
working hard. We're working hard in Washington to solve the world's problems. So, stick with us.
Well, I'm glad to hear someone is. It's coming up to 2.5 hours. This has been great. I know many of you. I'd like to get to know more of you. But this indicates again that we need more of these. This has been really awesome, and I really appreciate every one of you being a part of this. I hope it was satisfactory to you to learn about a little bit about, well, Malcolm, I'm so glad he popped in, about what we're doing for you as a society. And you heard about Antonio from Sicily, about how he appreciates the Clan Forbes. And thank you. That's all I want to say. Just thank you for being part of this clan, this family. Um, this is why we work so hard for you. Think of how you can be a part of this and not just be a person who jumps in occasionally. If you have an article, I definitely want to see those blown glass pictures. Um, but thank you all so very much. I want to close it out today, but we'll have more of these, I promise you. And as I do with all of our meetings, grace me guide.